My name is Rayani Madison Jones. I'm the founder and executive director of 3D Girls, an organization in Atlanta, Georgia that is serving young women and girls, helping to empower them and helping them to advocate for themselves and their families. My personal journey with plywood, I came in at a time where I was very unclear about what I was doing. I was a teacher at the time, very unfulfilled. When I got accepted into the fellowship, I literally quit my job and I immersed myself in plywood full time. When I took the time to be a part of this community, I started to learn key elements of leadership development. And I think the first thing I learned was like, what are you doing? Like, let's figure this out. And literally starting from scratch. And plywood helped me to get to where I am today as a leader.
My name is Michael Rickman. I'm an architect and over the years worked right out of school, architecture school, figuring out that architecture can kind of do a better thing and serve as a catalyst to do more impact even at a small scale really interested me. And so an architecture that would not only help the community and do bigger things, but one that creates a better culture for folks and just does everything that you saw architecture doing badly. Then signed up for foundations, and it was great because it's a time where being in a space with other people and having that community. So you're like, wow, there's so many connections there that just popped up out of that weekend and some of that retreat. So after foundations, you get this bigger draw, and with each layer that we've sort of involved ourselves with plywood and other things, there's more people and more connections, and it just compounds itself into more each time. And you're like, oh, this is even more and more and more and more. And so the deeper you got, the better it became.
As we strategically went through the year in 2020, figuring out what worked best for us, I knew that I needed help envisioning that. And so that's when I decided to invest in the Layers group. I need to be amongst other leaders who get it.
That's a pretty lonely world when you're by yourself and everything you do is what determines the success and the next steps of the business. So Layers was the logical next step, where it's like, okay, these are other people in different stages of business and ownership and engagement, and there's this spectrum of some people are experiencing a lot, others are just now starting, but that's the beauty of having that diverse kind of experience, that you can speak into each other, and then the people that are running teams sort of learn from somebody that's by themselves that you forgot back when you were running it by yourself. There's several organizations and groups that we work with. One in particular is with 3D Girls and Rayani she has an office in Plywood. So we worked with Rayani to develop some renderings. It comes intuitive to us to think in 3D, envisioning and forecasting creative solutions. But to a lot of people, they have to see something to kind of buy into what's happening. And so that's part of what we offer, is that visioning and that schematic kind of concept ideas to create imagery and things that sort of serve as a way to excite everybody and pull in, oh, this is what they're doing? Yes, we're part of that.
There was one opportunity where we had a Layers group with the for-profit entities, and this is how I met Michael Rickman. And we had napkins and we did the design mapping. And on this napkin, I didn't know he was an architect at the time. We were just paired together and was like, hey, you wanna work together? And I have, and I still have this napkin of the Rose House and this little rose in the middle of it. And he took it and he drew something even bigger. He's like, I'm an architect. And that's how the whole visualization of the Rose House came about. He's like, we'll do this and we'll partner. And this is the work that we do. And it was just like this magical moment where I don't have to do this on my own. There are people out there that could support my vision and my dreams. And so, this community has helped me to learn that. The simplest thing that I've learned is to ask and not to be afraid to ask.
Growth doesn't mean more people. Sometimes you can do a lot more with less people if the right combination is there. And so to me, that's huge growth, even though you're reducing things.
This process has helped me to stop and be a little bit more strategic and logical about the work that we're doing.
Maybe it is an awesome idea. Maybe it's not. Maybe it needs to be shaped this way. But if you don't tell anybody about it or share it, to me, that's being selfish. You're holding it in. You need to, especially if it's got impact and you think it can serve something that's outside of you, then you've got to share it with them. And in an intimate setting like any of the Plywood Process levels, I mean, that's what it's all about, is just being able to share and learn from others. So